Oh, snap. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Peace Freqs. I'm your host, as always, Nikki P, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lizzie.
Hello.
How you doing today, babe?
I'm all right. I'm slightly confused by the music there, but
What do you mean you're confused by the music?
I don't know. Maybe you can fix it in post.
I haven't changed it yet.
Oh, I thought we were doing the other thing, and I was like ready to do my skank and pickle over here, and I found myself doing the Peanuts dance yet again. I mean, I love doing the Peanuts dance.
Just
but...
for the record, when people hear this, they're going to hear the skanking music.
Oh, are they? Okay. Well, never mind. None of that happened.
But it did, and you felt the need to riff about it, which
I
is
did
fine.
just say
you
I
did
could fix it in
look,
post.
Liz, the important thing is that you took some time to actually riff. And that's invaluable to me.
Okay. Well, good. Yay.
The more talking you do,
I did a thing.
the more I can get your passwords and your get into your stuff, because I can take all of the things that you say and make a computer program that talks like you.
Okay. All right.
Like they do with like Michael Jackson and
Right.
Tupac.
Right.
I'll have like the Lizzie voice robot in my phone.
I'll just keep releasing those albums.
You'd have to release a album to keep releasing them, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we have a fun show today.
Uh-huh.
This is the second episode, or in other words, episode number 85,
Yes.
whichever one you want to go with.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue on with the numbers the way I've been doing it.
Yep.
But this will be the official second episode of the show with our first guest.
Yeah, it's so fancy.
We have Mr. Jordan Johnson of Veterans for Voluntarism.
Really cool dude.
It was cool. I got to talk old school punk rock with a dude for a change.
Which is also very cool. You guys talked about a ton of music in this episode, honestly.
Did we?
Yeah.
I just remember the old school punk rock.
I just put in like links for all the things in case you didn't. If they mention a band and you hadn't heard of the band, I tried to put a link in there so you can find the band. So
There's a lot of links in there.
yeah.
So this week, let's plug a podcast.
Yeah.
Who do we want to plug this week? You know what I want to plug?
What's up?
Make America Garrett Again.
Make America Garrett Again. That is a delightful name for a podcast.
It is, and more delightful. His most recent episode, as of recording this, he was actually kind of talking about the way that people talk about the environment and the way both sides are kind of talking past each other
Oh, okay.
in the global warming, climate change debate, whatever they're calling it this week.
Nice.
So, and obviously that's something that's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
So it's also right in line with what we talk about in this week's Married to Liberty. If
It's
you are
true.
in the patron group, which for right now is still the Freedom Choir.
Yes.
We could call it the Freedom Freaks or something. I don't know.
We could make it something a little more freaky or
Freaky styly.
something.
I would
eventually.
never do that. I'm never going to reference the Red Hot Chili Peppers in anything I do. If I can
Oh,
avoid
is
it.
that a Hot Chili Peppers thing?
Yes. So, but it is a very solid podcast. I've only been listening to it for a short while, so go check it out. Also, before we get started, I'd like to remind you to head on over to peacefreaks.com, spell it which of the two ways you want to. It'll get you the same place. Check out the show note. You can support us. We got to work on some Peace Freaks merch. We still got the SLL merch in there if you want to get the legacy stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's a fun little place. I put a lot of work into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if nothing else, you can go find links to other cool stuff.
Yeah.
Liz puts a lot of effort into the links, so please go check those out. At any rate, let's not belabor this because we have a lot of interview to get through. I'm going to end up having to cut so much out of it for time, and it's going to suck. But this is going to be our interview with Jordan Johnson. Enjoy. Welcome, Jordan, to the first ever episode of Peace Freqs.
Awesome.
Which is the rebrand of Sounds Like Liberty because, man, that whole Iran nonsense was really, really fucking with me.
New name, same
Yeah.
cat. Would you go away?
So many people with such bad takes just kind of came out of the woodwork with that whole thing. And the worst thing is, I think some people kind of think that they were right because of the way it panned out. We're seeing on this end of it. And I still don't really feel like it panned out. I still think that, this is just a continuation. It's just kicking the ball down the court kind of situation. You'd probably have more experience and understanding of that than I would, but
With the Iran situation.
Yeah, I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. Well, the embassy protests, riots, whatever you want to call them, was completely okay. I'm getting into like my opinion on this one right now. If it wasn't orchestrated by the CIA, it was a perfect opportunity for America to paint a nasty picture of why we should stay in Iraq.
Yeah.
And also to point the finger at the boogeyman that we've had the finger pointed at for a very, very long time in Iran.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a really frustrating. I have a New Year's resolution where I'm not going to argue with anybody through this entire year.
Oh man.
So just watching it on social media makes my head fucking like
The
throb.
thing is, like, man, if they were to throw anything at you, like, right off the bat in the new year to make that resolution hard.
Right.
Dude, January 1st, 2021, fucking somebody's going to get unloaded on it. It's probably going to be really unfair.
You,
Yeah.
maybe, are you the catalyst for this entire fucking thing? The universe wants to piss on Jordan, and so, like, the entire reason all of this happened is just because the universe is conspiring against you, I think.
That is something they always say. Like, if you make a commitment like that, the universe is going to test you. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been testing me. It tested me today in person. That's completely off topic, but
So we started
Could be
him
wrong,
off with the rough stuff, Liz.
Well, yeah, we got right to the Empire Building, and now we can go to something lighter, I guess.
sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I do want to say one thing while we're on the Empire topic.
Yeah.
go
if you
for
don't
it.
mind. So the worst part is like being in the army and being deployed to Afghanistan. Even our commanders don't understand why we're there. Like
Ugh.
there is no clear mission, so we're just there to fucking patrol. And when we get shot at, we shoot back.
You're there to
Like that was
occupy.
legitimately what we did.
Yeah. God, that's awful.
And we're going around with civil affairs dudes and throwing a lot of money at like tribes and stuff to repair blowback that the Taliban did. Like a good example, we had a bridge got blown up, so they built them a new bridge that was crossing to 2 different villages so they could continue trading and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, what the fuck are we doing here? And if I had $1 for every person that I talked to after patrol, like, why are we here? What are we doing? Like, I would be able to retire.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you talking to like soldiers, and thank God there's more and more of you guys. I was talking to somebody the other day. There's more and more of you guys coming back that are willing to say, no, fuck this. Like that's the one thing that I don't know how they manage to control. And the only thing I think about is that ultimately it's going to be the police versus the soldiers. Like that's kind of I think what they've been setting up. That's why they've been giving them all your guys as used shit for years, so that so that they can fight the impending. We sent all these kids over there, and now they're all pissed off.
Oh, yeah, I'm trained relatively.
But so many of anytime you hear about them, it's always show of force, show of force. That's literally what most of what they were doing over there was. Is we are here to be a presence to make people know that we're here. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the mission. Just be here. And
yeah,
that's a hell of a thing to waste money on.
Well, it just seems like it'd be soul crushing as a person being involved in that. 'Cause, like, how can you put your soul into that? Like,
it's extremely crushing. I mean, that's why there's 22 a day or whatever. Veteran suicide rate is extremely high now compared to like Vietnam or Korea, World War II.
And if it's not because of what you did, it's because of the drugs you got addicted to that you're doing now that you were protecting over there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's honestly for a lot of people, I still have a lot of veteran friends that are very much pro-war with at this point, and it's just because they're compartmentalizing. Like they have no reason to like cope with the fact that they went over and killed a bunch of people for no reason, because one of the guys on our show, I mean, my brother Jake, we deployed at the same time, same job, both infantrymen in Afghanistan, and like I didn't see a whole lot of combat. He saw a shit ton, like almost every day.
Yeah.
So dealing with that is hard. We finally got him on the anti-war train, but it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of free thinking on his end too. And it takes a lot of people. It's very hard once you have your mind dedicated that you're willing to kill for this cause to turn away and say that was fucking wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of science that goes into what they do to you guys when you go in. Like that, it's not something trivial. They have a very specific psychological routine that they put you all through. And they also have a good way of weeding, from what I understand, a good way of weeding you all out if you're not ready to jump on the page when that time comes. Like if you can't hang, you don't stick around long.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
No, you're good. I was actually going to say, well, why the hell don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Sure. Yeah. So I am one of the 3 hosts of our show called Veterans for Voluntarism. We Dane and I, the other guy, he was a Marine Corps veteran, initially had an idea of starting a blog, and it was going to be, like oh, you support the troops so much, we'll come and argue with them. You know what I mean? Type of thing. And I recorded a podcast on my phone, like an sample episode on my phone, and sent it to him. He's like, fuck it, let's start a podcast. I'm like, all
I was
right,
going to say, at some point in there, you realize writing is hard and bullshitting with your buddies on microphone is way easier.
Yeah, way easier. I suck at writing.
Like, we could all sit here and talk for endless amounts of time. That's totally doable.
Right.
Having to sit down and write an article, oh my God, 2 paragraphs and I'm like, fuck this. Why did I think this was a good idea? I know I have a lot of shit to say, but I don't want to type it out.
Yeah, I don't have a Scott Horton brain. Wish I did sometimes, but maybe it's more peaceful without one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we started that, and we were totally unaware that like this veteran ANCAP libertarian thing was like a real thing until we found Biting the Bullet, who we're now really good friends with, Status Quo, a bunch of other guys too on Twitter, and it's like it's a valid thing. We thought we were alone. We're like, shit, we're alienated. You know, maybe we can create some kind of cause or something. So we got that going, and we finally got a third host, my brother. He's my younger brother. He was in the Army same times as me. We had the same jobs, deployed the same places. I mean, he saw a lot of action. Like me and Dane didn't see a whole lot of action.
He just happened to be at the right place at the wrong time.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, and I'm thankful, dude. I mean, like, you know, I prayed a lot before going to Afghanistan. Like, if you just bring me home alive, I don't care. You know. And thankfully, I didn't have to deal with that.
I'm not to get too crazy here. I'm curious. Like, I mean, how much is there of you know, is there any guilt dealing with the fact that, you know, you both essentially took the same path, and he kind of got the bum deal of it?
Not really, because I enlisted after he did, actually.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because he enlisted, so I was like, damn, that's a fucking good bonus. We got $20,000 bonuses, dude.
That's back in those days. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, they really wanted to get you boys in there.
Yeah, and I was poor, and I was a Ron Paul supporter, you know, but this stuff did not occupy my brain like at all. I was just like, fuck it, I gotta go and see some combat to provide for my wife, you know. Then I guess that's what I'm gonna do.
I think in 08 I was super apolitical.
Yeah.
I didn't find any of this shit until probably like 2014, 2015. I came into this after Molyneux was garbage, so.
Oh, okay.
And to be clear, I think Molyneux was garbage, but to each their own, I suppose.
Stephen Molyneux?
Yes.
Yeah. You see, I don't really know a whole lot about the guy. I just hear the term white nationalist get thrown around a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he's coy about it. His Twitter is absolute trash. Like, the shit he says on there is insane. This video. I think he was in Poland or some shit, and it's just basically the tenor of the video is, I'm not saying it's because there's no black people here, but I look around and, you know.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I mean, and people like that throw that shit around, and it's like, well, they got socialism there too. You know, is that what you're saying we need here?
Really, what I'm pissed off is like, dude, I do not want to live in a world without black girls' asses. Like, that's not a fucking world I want to be a part of.
I can respect that.
Like, I'm sorry, white women are kind of held back in that department, and it's not a good thing for the world. So, I think interbreeding is good, if for no other reason than attractive women.
I'm in favor of diversity for whatever reason. You're in favor of diversity, I suppose. So, there you go.
Yeah.
My wife's Asian, so she doesn't have a booty by any means.
Hey, there's plenty of good-looking Asian women, man. I got nothing against it.
I've
never seen your wife, but I'll make assumptions. You know, you soldier boys usually did pretty good for yourselves.
Yeah, she's good, and I met her before I was a soldier.
I'm actually kind of curious how that has been, because I'm imagining there's at least some sort of change. Obviously, you went into the service, and you know you're clearly very against that now. How has that been with her? Like, is she kind of walked the journey? Is she kind of not really care about it one way or the other? She's got other shit to worry about.
Yeah, she doesn't care. I love my wife very much, but she loves Trump. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
She's a conservative Asian, but
I mean, I was supposed to say, like, that's amazing to me. Just on itself, you have an Asian wife.
I mean,
that loves
to
Trump.
be fair, you know, I grew up with that whole, you know, thing. Like, I voted for Bush in that election where you threw the stuff out of the stuff because I don't know, I was probably 18 or 19.
Yeah, but you're not Asian.
Like, this is what we do.
Like, you're Baptist. It makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know how Asian people vote for Trump.
Yeah, it's strange. She didn't vote. She's just, I don't know, supports it. She really doesn't give a fuck either way. And I talk about like the ANCAP stuff, and she's like, "Oh, here we go, like another long conversation about why everything should be privatized, including national defense. And it doesn't occupy her mind. She's pretty much like I was before I started getting into this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, she was, I mean, she's a great wife. During my time in the Army, I was in for a good length of time.
Yeah.
She was extremely supportive with whatever. I mean, at the end, the main reason I set my mind on getting out instead of making it a career and retiring from it is because I came back on recruiting in our hometown, and like we had a lot of personal stuff happen with deaths in the family and stuff. And she's like, if you reenlist wherever you go, you're not going with me. And I was like, okay, I'm getting out, starting a new career.
Okay. I mean, she just was done being the soldier wife at that point.
Yeah, and you have to move every 3 to 4 years, and it fucking sucks moving from like Iowa to El Paso, Texas.
Yeah.
And not knowing anybody. It's
You guys
a
have
lot of
you guys
work.
have any kids, or is it just the two of you right now?
Just the two of us and the dog.
Okay. I mean, I would say if you had kids, that makes that all way even more difficult. Like uprooting with a wife, I'm sure is one thing. Uprooting when you have a family, I can't even imagine how difficult that's got to be for people.
Yeah, I don't think she changed a whole lot. I definitely changed a lot. I had a lot of anger issues, not just from like deployment, but from being out in the line and dealing with all that bullshit, getting yelled at all the time for stupid reasons.
Yeah.
And just coming home and unleashing, because you can't tell your supervisor to go fuck themselves in the Army. But I go home, drink a lot. Which the best thing about getting out is seed bearing plants. You know what I mean? So less drinking and a lot more chilling.
Nice. Well, and that was actually probably the thing that was most interesting about listening to you guys on the Free Man Against the Wall, or Free Man on the Wall. What is it? I can't remember.
Free Man Beyond the Wall.
Free Man Beyond the Wall. That's what it is. It's Pete's show. I know it is Pete's show, or Matt's, whatever. That was probably the most interesting part of that, was kind of listening to you guys talk about and parse the whole recruiting side of things, because I've had my experience with recruiters, and at one point I actually sought them out and was going to join the Air Force.
It would have been very different.
It would have been a very different life. The tattoo policy ultimately was why I didn't.
Army doesn't really have that anymore. It's more, as long as it's not in your face, hands, neck, anything that a uniform doesn't cover, you're good.
Well, just to be clear, this is I was ready to go in like 2006. Like it was right after college, so that was a very interesting time. I think things were a little different because they had a lot more boys signing up back then.
Oh yeah, for sure. We had huge bonuses, man.
And now, like, I think at this point they're kind of trying to get whatever they can get. I mean, that's why they're moving to 17-year-olds, right? Or no, it's 16-year-olds that they're moving to.
No, it's 17 is the minimum age for enlistment. You need parental consent.
Well, no, I know that you can't enlist, but they're actually like recruiters are talking to like 16-year-olds in high schools and stuff to kind of get it fresh in their minds.
Oh yeah, some do. They build rapport so that when they turn 17, they can
exactly.
I mean, they've always had
to manipulate them.
ROTC program, haven't they?
Yeah, there's ROTC and JROTC. JROTC is the Junior Reserve Officer, whatever the fuck.
Because I've got cousins.
It's in high school, and it is manned by usually retirees.
Okay.
From whatever branch that they represent, whether it's Air Force, Army, Navy.
So worse than soldiers, they're old soldiers, Liz. They're like guys that like were around when it was okay and cool to be a soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got weird
old, crusty guys.
Yeah, guys that have loved this forever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've got cousins that like literally started in high school and they're like officers now.
So real complicated question for you here. What do you think the best thing? I mean, obviously, we have our platform here, and you guys have your platform. But for people like, say, Liz and I we're parents. We got ourselves a going on 6-year-old daughter. And the people that we'd be friends with would kind of just be normies. What do you think the best thing we can have them do to kind of work back to a world where we're not always on the verge? Like what kind of changes can we have them make? And really what I'm asking you is to solve the world's military problem in the next 20 seconds.
Yeah, and that's not a simple question. It's not a simple answer either. Number one, keep your kids out of public schools.
Yeah,
we're good there.
Homeschooling or unschooling. Number two would be teach them foreign policy, for sure. Like, this is why there are soldiers in Iraq. This is what happens when soldiers go to Iraq. And this is what they, this is the situation objectively speaking. I think if people see it objectively from the start, they'll know and be able to recognize bullshit.
Yeah. It sucks. Oh, I was going to say,
Go
it
ahead.
sucks talking about that stuff with your kid because it's just so freaking depressing and awful. Like, your government
Yeah.
sucks, little person.
Well, and
Yeah, I mean,
what's terrible is like because we have Irma, and the fact of the matter is, I have a little brown girl as a daughter. There are certain things I have to teach her about police. Now, I don't
Yeah.
teach her inherently that it's a race thing. I just tell her don't fucking trust cops because I don't want her to trust cops. But that makes life a little bit more difficult. Like, say something were ever to happen to me and mom, she needs to know how to handle that, and preferably not involving the authorities. So, you got to have your own little networks around and people that you feel like you can trust for whatever reason. It's a difficult thing to navigate. But I did cut you off, so continue.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Yeah, just teach them this is what is going on. These are the players in that region of the world. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I deployed to Afghanistan, like I didn't know what the Taliban was. I didn't even really know what the fuck Al Qaeda was, other than they took down World Trade Center.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought they were the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, honestly, dude, that's what I thought. I was like, fucking Taliban's funded by Al Qaeda. I was like, well, no, actually, that's not the truth. And also, required reading, at least for young adults, should be fool's errand
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
So we need to have no. You know what we need to do? We need to get Scott and we need to get Connor over at Tuttle Twins to like make the Tuttle Twins version of that book.
Fool's errand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
Actually, that is a great idea.
How do we do that? How
If
do
he
we,
made a documentary, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
We pay for it twice. That's how the story goes. Once with our taxes, 2 times with our souls. And where this all goes, everybody should know. You better believe it, boy. We reap what we sow.
how do you condense Fool's Errand into a children's book?
Well, I mean, that's a thing. But I think one big thing that I do really try to do with our daughter is talk about other cultures, like cultures, other religions, and other parts of the world. Like, so you can kind of get the idea of people as people wherever they're from. And I think if you connect with those cultures, it's like easier to get past the us and them, and they're
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
weird people
definitely.
over there with stuff on their heads. And
I know, like I'm more of a panarchist, and that like the fact of the matter is we're never gonna get everyone to buy into an ANCAP society. So there's always gonna be people out there with stupid ideas trying to run their government like morons. And that's important to understand. Like, yeah, we can't fix the world for everybody. All we can really do is fix it for ourselves. Any chance we try to fix it for everybody else always ends up in something catastrophic. Like, I don't even really know if you can say that the the Revolutionary War did a whole fuck ton of good for us, because it
Right.
maybe bought us a little more time, but that's about it. We're gonna end up in the same fucking place Europe did, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I think it's important to be a good example for your community, and that rubs off on your kids. And having a good family dynamic is a huge thing too. One of the guys on our show homeschools his kids with the Ron Paul curriculum, and his kids are some of the best kids I've ever met.
We think
Without that,
I think we technically unschool our kid at the moment.
there's nothing wrong with that.
But I also I tell people, when people stop telling me how smart my kid is, I'm gonna be concerned about that.
I mean, we're gonna have to actually
Yup.
like involve the state coming up this year.
I
so
know
it's-
you keep telling me that, and I just don't want anything to do with that.
I'm just like, you have to give them something. You don't have to give them everything, but you do have to give them something. Unfortunately,
Yeah, to maintain a semblance of peace, you do have to
yeah.
cooperate with the mafia.
Ohio isn't the worst. I think wasn't the big thing here we have to do is like we have to have an actual teacher just involved in the
Oh,
process.
or you could do the
essentially.
state testing.
Or the state testing.
Yeah.
How terrible do you think that is for Irma?
I don't know. She doesn't really seem to care either way. So
I don't think she's gonna sit and still long enough. To
well,
do
there's that. Yeah.
it.
I did it when I was a kid, and it was like nerve wracking for us, but it was framed in a very like, if you don't pass this, then they're probably just gonna come and take you from me, because my mom was a
Mm.
single parent. So
What tests do they have to do? Like a state competency test or something?
like the grade level achievement test that all the
Oh.
schools do, and you I think can still choose which kind of test that you want to give them, but it's like one of those fill in the bubble sort of tests. and then they'll send it away, and they'll let you know what grade level it is. And then we were always way ahead on everything, so we never had any problems. But they want to see the numbers.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I don't want them seeing shit. I don't even want them to know I have a kid.
Right. Well, yeah, they already stamped your kid with a number when they were born. So
what happens if you don't have them test?
Well, if you don't have them test, you can have an instructor sign off.
It has to be a certified educator.
Yeah, your.
What if you don't do any of that? Are they going to take your kids away?
I mean, it depends.
I'm absolutely positive that CPS will be involved
In my experience, like, you can kind of fly under the radar for a certain amount of time, but like if anybody takes note and makes a report, then yeah, you are in hot water like really fast.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my God, that is Orwellian.
Well, I mean, people will just see your kid on the street and be like, "That kid looks of school age. Why are they having fun?" Like,
Wow.
Well,
that is freaky.
Well, dude, you didn't? There was an article going around a couple months ago about a family who wanted a second opinion on something that happened with their kid got ill. They took it to the hospital, and the doctors said, "This is your only option." And they said, "We want a second opinion." And so they drove the kid to a second hospital from that hospital. The first hospital called CPS, and despite the fact that the second hospital was treating the child, just treating them differently, and more in line with the parents' wishes, the child was then taken from the parents. And I think at 6 months, the mother hadn't seen her daughter. It was like what? It was like a young child, right?
Yeah, there's pretty much baby.
Yeah, hadn't seen their baby because the first hospital just, well, why would you take him from us? We told you what you needed to do, and you ignored us. So you're clearly terrible parents. Even though they went to another hospital to handle the situation just differently. So took the fucking kid away.
Yeah, probably a hospital that doesn't subscribe meds for every single thing under the sun.
It wasn't even something crazy like that. It was like literally the only thing the hospital that they took it to initially would do was like a crazy experimental thing that like had a horrible like outlook, and the other hospital had a much less lethal way of dealing with whatever it was. I guess is regardless, it was super fucking intense. And you're like, so wanting a second opinion from a doctor literally got your child taken away from you. So.
Yeah, that is fucking, dude, that's straight out of 1984, I think. I don't know, I haven't finished the book. But.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you about the paperwork you have to fill out after having a kid and how you're not doing anything until that shit's filled out. You're not leaving, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in that hospital room and them just fucking...
You're just like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Dane, one of the hosts on our show, when he had his daughter, they were required to take blood to run for testing for like homicidal tendencies and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
like, a bunch of weird shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He ended up getting out of it because he is a Christian, but he is like, our blood is sacred, and if we give our blood up, religious reasons were the only reason that he got out of it.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy,
damn.
man. For your own good, though. I mean, for the good of your child, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, that's what it's disguised as for sure.
All right, so you're over there and you're trying to keep sane. What are you listening to?
In Afghanistan?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that you have like earbuds. It was after the time of that stuff, right?
Yeah, and we had headsets in our trucks, and you can rig up like an iPod into it to go over all of our headset stuff. People didn't like my choice of music. At the time, I was actually in a death metal band, so I was listening to like a lot of death metal and black metal.
Well, fucking A. You didn't think to bring that up? Come on, man. We're a music podcast. What was the band?
My band was called Abandoned Chaos.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I was when I left the band, it was because I joined the army initially, and I was moving. But there was a lot of anti-war songs. I replaced the singer, so I took over all the lyrics, and we had songs like "Sheep Go to War," 21 Gun Insult, bunch of other shit. And they didn't like it when I put my iPod on, but we would make a compromise. I grew up young punk rock kid,
Yeah.
So throwing some Rancid or some like H2O or something like that.
That's my shit.
Hardcore punk.
We did a mural project in high school, and everybody, like, the mural, each one of us got to pick a quote and put it up on the wall and kind of like have an image attached to it. And I actually have an H2O quote that was my choice. And it was
what was it?
I believe it was, no one said it was going to be easy, and I'm not afraid to try, but with the odds stacked
up
against
one life,
me.
one chance, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So
Hell yeah.
the lyrics to One Life, One Chance are up on the fucking wall in my high school. They may
That's
have
awesome.
painted over it at this point. I don't know. That was fucking 20 some years
Been a
ago.
few years.
But it felt good being able to put that on the wall of a school.
Sure.
Yeah. There's only one album by H2O I wasn't a huge fan of.
The old posse core, as we used to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome, dude.
Yeah, like I'm a big Strung Out fan. That's where I kind of ended up.
Oh, okay.
I got my Strung Out tattoo over here, and those boys have some fucking anti-war lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like they were. I think they I don't know. Like they started out writing anti-war lyrics, but like they also like they kept doing it. Like they've been a band for 25 years I think now, and they've never stopped. And it's pretty awesome. You know, you got stuff like Firecracker. He's got some songs like that. You know, he's written about his grandpa who came back from World War II, I think it was. So like,
Okay.
he covers a whole bunch of angles on it, and I love it. So, is there anywhere we can actually have people listen to your old band? If nothing else, I want to go listen to your old band.
Oh, I do have a CD because we recorded an album, and I have a CD. We never released it because we broke up.
And you haven't
I
put it
got
on
the
Bandcamp
CD.
yet?
No, we broke up in 2000.
Shit, man, I put up all my old bands on Bandcamp even after we broke up. Fuck that.
Yeah, true. I should put it up. I will now.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
look out for it. Abandoned Chaos on Bandcamp.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely throw a link out if you can let us know when it's going up.
We had a MySpace page, and there was audio on there. I don't know
If you
it's
had a
up anymore.
MySpace page, there's still a MySpace page.
Good
don't know
old
if-
MySpace.
I don't think that they're the algorithm, like I don't think anything plays on it anymore because I've gone to my old MySpace page and it's still there. But for whatever reason it won't let me play any of the music on there, which sucks because I have some good songs that was actually the only copy of them I had. In particular, my song Chupacabra, which had all of my early Venture Brothers quotes mixed in.
I see.
Chupacabra. They're all over Mexico.
And to kind of come back of what I was listening to at the time I was in Afghanistan, I was listening to a lot of like Tub Ring and Dog Fashion Disco too.
Interesting.
I don't know if you guys are into them.
The one I'm actually not familiar with, but Dog Fashion Disco I know fairly well. They're an odd one.
Yeah, their new shit is very anti-war too.
I'd like
cool.
to see. I wish you would have been listening to more Mr. Bungle over there and really.
Oh, I did.
And really confused the shit out of people.
Yeah, Mr. Bungle's awesome, dude.
Man, what are your tastes like now?
Right now is mostly kind of went back to my roots with like hardcore punk. Listen to a lot of Comeback Kid. What else am I fucking with right now? The Acacia Strain's new one is pretty good.
Nice.
I love Fear Factory. I always have ever since I was a kid, so I still jam them.
I always thought that all you guys did was you just had like a never-ending stream of Drowning Pool.
Yeah, or Five Finger Death Punch or something.
Don't even. I'm gonna edit the fact out that he even mentioned that band on here.
Yeah, just bleep it out.
I'm, like that's. I'll deal with curse words, but no, don't mention Five Finger Death Punch. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of those Nickelback bros and
Oh,
fucking
God.
bunch of dudes with tribal tattoos and shit like that.
Pud
They're probably the
rockers.
majority.
You know, the
Yeah.
guys that are eventually going to get out, get married to some girl who listens to fucking country, and they're just gonna do country music festivals for the rest of their life. Because if they had any taste, they wouldn't have been listening to that in the first place. It's just what was there.
Yeah, that's the one genre I don't mess with is country. I can't stand it.
There's some acts I like. I'll get into like Hank 3, the old school
Okay.
classic country kind of stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, because I did grow up through the '90s. I'm definitely still a fucking fan of Dwight Yoakam, but that's more of like a rockabilly kind of thing than it is even country.
Yeah, I think Hank 3 is a little bit more rock than country.
It depends what you're listening to. I mean, he's got his seriously country shit in there. I know Ass Jack is pretty metal.
He was in Down for a while.
Who was?
Hank 3. Hank
Really?
Williams
He was in
III.
Down?
Yeah.
I was not aware.
He was the bassist for Down.
That's
That's
amazing.
fucking ridiculous because I love Down. I had no knowledge of that. I'm gonna have to go do some research now. Because like, out of all those metal bands, like that's probably my favorite thing that fucking what's his name ever did.
Phil.
Yeah, I prefer Down to Pantera. I never got fucking Dimebag solos. Like they don't make sense to me.
Really?
They're not.
I loved
key.
Pantera, but it seemed like they just, I don't know, man. I'm going to sound like a dick and an elitist, but they just got too mainstream for me after a while, you know? Because like everybody listens to Pantera.
Well, see, I like Pantera. I absolutely fucking can't stand Metallica.
Me
I
neither.
kind of like Black and like stuff before that, kind of. But if I were to choose like any of those fucking metal bands, it's gonna be Megadeth or Slayer.
Mhm. Yep.
I fucking love Slayer. That shit's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. Repentless, I wasn't a huge fan of the newest one.
I don't know that I paid much attention to the new stuff. Did you have kids and shit like?
You lose track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, it's become acutely aware. Like I look at some of the shit that the kids are listening to. I'm like I can go through the charts. I'm like I don't know what any of this is anymore.
Like who's that guy?
Like there was a point where I still knew most of it, even though I was technically an adult.
Yeah.
But like at some point, I just crested that place where I'm like I don't know any of this. What the fuck is wrong with all of you people? This is garbage. Why are we Why are we listening to Korean people play music here?
Oh, come on. Some of that K-pop is bomb, actually. I kind of dig it.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah. I was stationed in Korea for a year.
How was that?
So I got my dose of fucking K-pop. It was, I don't know, Korea was okay. You know, there's a lot of people getting a lot of trouble over there. Soldiers do, for sure. There's a lot of drinking, dude. Koreans can drink.
That's interesting. I'm curious. Is there like some type of feeling that you have being that much closer to like what I would consider like the worst type of government in the world? Right over there, you know, the other side of this country is authoritarian a place as you can possibly imagine. Is that something that's like palpable, or are you just kind of, place is a place, and you just kind of get used to not thinking about shit?
You're talking about North Korea?
Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the DMZ twice, so that was pretty cool. Got to see some North Korean soldiers flick us off and stare at us fucking with every violent intent they probably have in their body. But down in South Korea, the only thing that really messed with us is that we constantly got fucking alerted. We had to have our bags packed at all time to get ready to go to war with North Korea if they invaded or whatever. So we get recalled, and they didn't ever tell you it was just a drill. So in your mind, you get woken up at 3 a.m. and getting all your, I was in field artillery at the time, so we had to go down and get on our howitzers and get ready to roll out, you know, and it's like, oh, it's just a drill, fucking go back to it. And after a while, you just become like numb to it. It's like, even if North Korea fucking invaded, none of us are going to be taking it seriously at that point until people start dying.
Well, that's kind of my point. It's like I can't imagine any situation in which North Korea really invades. I can imagine them shooting off fucking rockets, but like it doesn't make sense. Like hey, let's look at the most malnourished army in the fucking planet. And start sending them boots to the ground into actual technological civilization that also happens to be protected by the fucking U.S. Army. I don't see any of that even making fucking sense.
No, it would be a really, really quick fight if North Korea invaded. I mean, number one, the thing that sucks is that the soldiers stationed in South Korea would get fucking rolled over for sure, like the U.S. soldiers, because we don't have a whole lot of people there.
Yeah.
We have less there than they do, and this is including the South Korean army too.
Interesting.
Yeah, we were told this wasn't anything official. It was just kind of like off the cuff talking to like leadership. But they were like, yeah, I mean, basically we're here as a speed bump.
You're a tripwire, essentially.
Yeah, for when the real defending force comes in, you know.
Which I imagine is just a fucking lot of shit flying out of the air.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, you said that malnourished army, and that's for real.
Well, I mean, notice it. Don't they average like 6 inches shorter than South Koreans, even though they're the same fucking people, because they've been malnourished for generation after generation?
Yeah. Have you seen the video of the North Korean soldier who was defecting to South Korea, and he ran across the DMZ and got shot like 16 times or something like that?
No, I would be horrible to watch.
That shit was nuts. He survived.
Oh, wow.
Really?
He's in South Korea now.
That's crazy.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, they're definitely really authoritarian. It was actually pretty comical going to the DMZ because they have a town. It's completely propaganda, like a propaganda town. I can't remember the name of it. But it's like hollow fucking buildings, and at nighttime you can see the light in like a big skyscraper, like going up and dimming as the higher it gets because it's just hollowed out.
That's crazy. There's a bunch of that in China though too, from what I understand. Like because they just keep building the cities and they don't have the people for the cities or the economy for the cities, but just keep building them so it makes it look like the economy's doing shit. You know, keep borrowing against that central bank and pumping it in.
Yep, and also in China they basically create work for the sake of creating work. for like people just to do shit inefficiently because there's like no semblance of capitalism apparently. So they just create work so people can be employed. To be like, hey, look what socialism has fucking got us here, or communism, or whatever they are.
What's the old thing? I think it was what's his name, the economist who went over to Russia to see how everything was going, and they had soldiers digging ditches or whatever, and he said, why aren't they using backhoes and things like that? He's like, no, you don't understand. This is a jobs program. And he's like, well, why not use spoons?
Yeah, I think that was Milton Friedman.
Yeah, Milton Friedman. That's right. But yeah, the whole idea, it's like, well, if you're gonna make it a jobs program, like, really have at it. We're gonna dig a ditch here across the country with spoons. Take forever.
Yeah,
we'll never run out of work.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that's why I get alarmed when any workers' party type bullshit pops up in the socialism propaganda, because it's like, so you just want to create work to create work? I mean, I think if we have a better quality of life, still with an unemployment rate, I think we'd probably be all right. I don't know. Economics isn't like really my thing, but it's interesting.
How's it going? This is Nikki P, and I wanted to thank you for stopping by our neck of the woods. I sure hope you enjoy listening to Peace Freqs as much as we enjoy making it. Now, as much fun as it is right now, I know it can be a lot more fun, and the way to make it more fun is to grow that community. Unfortunately for us, growing anything organically on the internet is a thing of the past, and as much as I'd like to dump Irma's college fund into growing the show, that would make me a bad parent. So if you want to help create a bigger, more badass community, stop by upgradetheshow.com. We have monthly and yearly fiat options and one-time and yearly crypto options. But don't go thinking an upgraded community is all you're going to get. All patrons of the show get access to the Freedom Choir, chock full of bonus shows, and our Zoom link to watch our interviews live. So head over to upgradetheshow.com and help us upgrade this freaky little community. Well, ultimately it was the thing that kind of brought me over, because like I said, I was kind of a lefty. I mean, I still consider myself a lefty, like on social issues for sure.
Yeah,
I've been in the Mises Caucus forever, and I've kind of been like their token lefty since the start.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah.
Well, I can respect that though, and honestly, I know that a lot of my leftist friends are full of shit when they talk about being anti-war, and really they're just talking about they don't agree with Trump with the Iran situation.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still like to see it, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, there's still a little bit left of a person inside of you.
Well, and that's always been the thing that stuck with me, even back when I was fucking freaking out about Bush versus Kerry. It's because I thought I was on the anti-war side.
Right.
Life has kind of shown me, oh no, there is no anti-war side. There's just, the authoritarians versus the not authoritarians. And I've always been anti-authority. I took that shit seriously in all those old punk rock songs.
Yeah.
I wish they'd taken it as seriously as I did.
Yeah, the thing that like really alarms me is that people don't realize that like this country is really controlled by like 5 big families. Political people are just puppets for their power struggle, more or less.
For a minute there, I thought he was about to go way deep.
Well, I mean,
I was about to, but I pulled it back.
He dropped the line. We can all go do the research ourselves. We get where he's coming from.
Is he following the Rothschilds or what?
If you're listening to this, look up the Morgans, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, and the Rothschilds.
Dude, what's so weird about that is because like there's parts of that history, like I don't necessarily feel like it's necessarily a negative thing. I just think the system allowed too much power to coalesce in that place.
Yes.
Like if you read like any of the old stuff they had to say, like their intentions may have even been fairly,
fairly noble.
Yeah, I mean,
at the time, it just they created a monster, man.
Yeah, basically.
And now if they let go of the power, it would not work in their favor.
Well,
for sure.
And we can take this all the way back to the whole fucking, right to where we started from. And that's the problem, is that you created this thing that can't unwind in a positive way. Like the backlash is going to be bad.
Yes.
But unless you let that happen, equilibrium will never happen.
Right.
And that's, I'd rather a difficult equilibrium than a peace by force.
Right. Yeah. 100%, dude. And a lot of people like to point at that, like at those big, rich, powerful families, be like, that's unfettered capitalism. It's like, no.
No.
Look at the history of the Federal Reserve,
No,
Yeah.
the origins of the Council of Foreign Relations.
unfettered
and
capitalism would never create something that large because there would
No,
always be competition to break it down.
yeah, the money that you pay for things with was created by a privately owned government institution. So I think that's the opposite of capitalism.
Yeah.
Well, we could say, to call anything like that private, it's like calling Facebook private. I'm like, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe in some like really warped sense of it, but I mean, you know, they have the Atlantic Council going through all of your posts, so it kind of doesn't seem private to me.
And there's also a lot of other things. I'm not going to get too crazy on I like, I hate to call them conspiracy theories, but like stuff like this really excites me.
Mhm.
And when I have somebody to talk to about it, it's awesome.
Well, you know what that means? It means we got to have you back on. That's
Yeah,
all
there you
that
go.
means.
I'd love that.
Because,
Yeah, look at the origins of social media. A lot of it was created
all started in
by a
government
three-letter
facilities.
agency. Yeah.
Oh well, no. This is my favorite thing to point out, and I'll make sure to post the meme when I post this. So, if you've never pointed out, what company owns Google?
Shit, I can't remember, but I know that there's 5 big corporations that owns
Well-
every media outlet.
In particular, the company that owns Google is called Alphabet.
Oh shit.
And what do we call all of those agencies that the government uses? Is it
Alphabet Boys.
Yes. And it always struck me. It's like, man, wouldn't that just be the greatest fucking troll in the world if that company is basically just a front for the federal government, and that's their way of playing in like the actual like private sector.
Mhm.
So the meme I have, it's just the Alphabet logo, and I have all of the fucking like Alphabet soup agencies listed like in the image with it.
The
And
logo is like ABC.
well, I think it's just there's an actual Alphabet logo, and it says
Okay.
Alphabet, and it's got a stylized font, so it's clearly a logo. But yeah, I just put like, you know, the CIA, NSA, and all that shit on there.
Yeah.
man.
That's really interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that, dude.
I don't know if there's anything there, but man, I will say that
There's probably something.
that meme has never gotten any traction on Facebook. I will tell you that much.
Big shock. Big shocker there.
Really nobody ever sees it.
Mm-hmm.
I posted it
Yeah.
a few times, but then
Unfortunately,
again,
when you get in like in the weeds with some of the stuff, and like you do see it for truth's sake. A lot of people like to like point at the truther movement, like the 9/11 truther movement and stuff like that, and be like, "See, fucking conspiracy theorists hate the country,"
well,
you know. And then it gets negative feedback like that.
I think what's an even bigger issue is the fact that, especially with Alphabet, I mean, most people don't even realize that Google is like not the top of the spear. Like,
Right.
there's something above Google. A company
Oh, yeah.
owns them. So, you know, I say Alphabet, and that means nothing to anybody unless you're like really woke on the structure of that particular business. It for me, I remembered when they got bought and how like not a big deal the papers were making it. And it struck me as like this is like one of the biggest, most influential companies in the world. And we're not talking about somebody buying the entire fucking thing. Who the hell's got money to buy Google?
Right.
Fucking billions and billions of dollars it sold for. Somebody could buy that.
Yeah, that's insane. That is
So-
fucking insane. There was a great documentary I watched recently that talks about all the corporations. There's only a few corporations that owns every media outlet in the United States, and they all have one thing in common: they're all members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Mm.
I mean, there's a bunch of people. I believe Tulsi, if you follow her long enough, she gets tied
Yep.
in there. Pete
Yep.
Buttigieg, you follow him long enough, he gets tied in there.
PETA's?
Yep.
Yep. No, remember the
Okay.
name of the documentary?
There's nobody that
Yes.
reaches that level of politics without it.
Yeah, the documentary is called Shadow Ring. It's on Amazon Prime.
Look it up, Liz.
Ironically, it's on Amazon Prime
Right.
because they talk about Jeff Bezos in there too.
Of course they do.
I mean, what are they gonna do? You're gonna make the richest man in the world not the richest man in the world real quickly? I'm sure he doesn't even give two shits.
I mean, you gotta have your limited hangout too. You know.
Look, I'm not gonna talk shit on Bezos because Bezos is giving me the best era of television ever.
I mean, I'm just happy I can
He
get all
brings
my crap,
content I actually like.
like tomorrow.
Facebook is
To my
or
house.
was it Netflix has failed since the beginning to bring me content I actually want to watch.
Okay. But Amazon
Yeah.
Prime's got you.
Amazon's original content is second to none.
There you go.
Marvelous Miss Maisel, fucking The Expanse, The Boys, like that shit's great.
Oh, The Boys is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that show. I don't. There's a lot of undertones that really don't resonate with me positively, but I mean, just for the sake of entertainment, I thought it was pretty good. Have you guys read the comics?
I haven't. One of the YouTubers I follow is actually friends with the creator of it, though, so he's talked about it a few times. Gary Beekler over at Nerdrotic is one of we'll say one of my cultural people I pay attention to, and like I guess he knows the creator. He used to run a comic book store out there in San Francisco, so he's kind of tied into that shit. And he tends to, I won't say his takes are always great, but he's definitely more on our side of the politics than not.
Okay.
So, especially in the world of like media, it's difficult to find anyone who's just not hardcore SJW.
Oh yeah, dude.
There's that.
Even in the fucking on a like a local scale, I can't even go to local shows anymore because the fucking Antifa crowds are there.
Yeah.
Punching people for random. I went to a show with a taxation is theft sweatshirt on.
Oh Jesus Christ!
And I never got like
so many mean mugs in your life,
dude. Well, not just the mean mugs, but like people from the pit like fucking sucker punching me and shit. I had to leave.
Jeez.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with? And I know these people.
That's why you
and
go to ska
like
shows
Antifa.
instead.
That's such garbage.
Anybody punches you while skanking, you've got carte blanche to break their neck.
Yeah, the thing that sucks too is like when I was in a band way back in the day, we would play shows around here, and they were all fucking Ron Paul supporters, and now they're all Bernie bros. You know, like fuck.
I really want to talk to Amy Allen. I kind of want to see where she falls in things because you know Amy from the Interrupters.
Oh yeah,
was a big Ron Paul supporter, and I mean her lyrics. Like I still I can still get behind her lyrics. I'm just curious, being tied into the punk scene like she is, like I'm curious where her politics fall now because there's so many people, like you said, that were Ron Paul people that are now Bernie bros, and it's like you really never understood any of this, didn't you? And so much of it, that's why so many of them went to Trump. They just wanted anyone who was different, like something that felt like it was shaking things up, and it's difficult from a principled standpoint.
Yeah, it sucks. It's like you're on the right track. Like. I get it. The system is broken, but like to create more systems to fix the broken system isn't going to correct the
and
system.
That's exactly. It's like, Bernie does. He's great at seeing the problem. It's just his solution to the problem is more problem.
Yeah. Recently on our Veterans for Voluntarism Twitter page, I retweeted a Bernie Sanders tweet. And I put like, I never thought I'd ever see the day that I'd be retweeting Bernie Sanders, but here it is. It was something about the Iran situation. But I mean, like they're on the right direction.
Yeah,
it's just their mode of transportation is incorrect, I think, and they're, I would say, intellectually honest to a certain extent. Whereas like big neocon neo-lib people like fucking like a Bush supporter and a Pete Buttigieg supporter, are, I think, just fucking dumb.
Well,
you know what I mean? They're really easily manipulated.
Yeah, I think that's more the thing. Like, they really have just bought into the narrative, and they want to root for their team, and of course their team's the right team. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's insane. Pete's Twitter has been driving me fucking insane lately.
I can't imagine. Unlike Nick, I can't hang with Twitter because you guys are on another level. I like my Instagram. People post pictures. You like them. You maybe comment. You're nice to people. Like Twitter is like just straight up about being as savage as possible, which is entertaining.
For sure. This is a shameless shout out, but go follow the Mongoose 0861 Jared from Biting the Bullet.
Okay.
Fucking hilarious. He tears people up. It's pretty comical. I don't know how he has enough time to keep up with it. I can't keep up with it.
Yeah,
with like a Twitter argument, like fucking, I'm just like, I gotta go back to living my life now.
Right? Yeah, for reals. My resolution, to go back to you're not arguing. My resolution was to do like a post every day, and like it is so much more time consuming than I expected it to be.
Yeah, but just to keep up with the comments, man, it's like shit.
Oh, is that him humble bragging about how awesome everyone thinks Veterans for Voluntarism is.
No, actually, he was plugging somebody else on Twitter. So there you go.
Whatever. Who's
Who,
he
me?
plugging?
I was plugging Jared from Biting the Bullet.
Oh, he goes hard on Twitter. I love it.
Yeah, dude, it's hilarious.
I made a post earlier this week, and it's just much love to all of my veterans that have kind of found the right way.
Yeah, and when we started this, we thought we were gonna get like a shit ton of negative feedback from ANCAPs, especially. But for the most part, it's been fucking great.
Well, I mean,
and honestly, I give a lot of credit to Pete Quinones from Free Man Beyond the Wall for getting a lot of us on his show and kind of letting us speak. You know what I'm saying? And let people know what's going on.
See, it's funny that you say that, because the fact of the matter is like nobody raised more money from active duty soldiers and veterans than Ron Paul. And
yeah,
I mean, the fact of the matter is most of the people that I find that are super hardcore anti-war anymore, they're all soldiers. Like they're people that know firsthand how awful this can be. And
for sure.
You know, my big thing is I'm glad you guys finally realized perhaps late in the game to start talking to each other, because I think there is more support there. They do well in the brainwashing to make you think that you're alone. And the fact of the matter is like there's a lot more you guys out there than I think even at this point, I still think there's a lot more out there than you guys realize.
Oh yeah, dude. I think it's a thing, if not like voluntarist or ANCAP libertarians, at least there's a lot of anti-war ones, and not like just anti-war, but like against the current wars for sure. You know, we had Dan McKnight on an episode. He's from Bring Our Troops Home up in Wyoming.
I listened to it earlier this week, actually.
Okay, yeah, and he's got a good movement going, you know, and he's not politically affiliated with shit. He's just like, look, these fucking wars need to end, dude. And this is the hill I'm dying on.
It's like, believe it or not, I do actually listen to other people's podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to a lot too.
But I think my list's over 150 now. I have a podcast about podcasts, obviously, since that's how I know who you are, because I found you guys and talked about you on This Week in Liberpods. And I honestly, if you come across any more anti-war, or woke soldier podcasts, please let me know, because I am all too thrilled to help promote those.
Okay, I got a couple. I'll shoot them to you after this.
I know a lot of them, but I'm always looking for more podcasts that we can kind of raise all ships with. That's my big thing.
Yeah, for sure. High tide raises all ships.
Yep, that's the idea.
And you know what they say about the motion in the ocean. Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
Just take it someplace. I
think we started this in the Monica Perez episode. I'm going to try and end every episode with some terrible sexual really euphemism that just completely derails whatever was going on before it.
Fair enough.
We had her on. She's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, your guys' episode with her was actually pretty crazy. Like, even I was like, I don't know how much of this I could buy into. But yeah, and we I don't know. I try not to cover the same ground as everybody else, because what I offer that's different, I guess, is the fact that we're parents. And
yeah, and you got the music thing. I actually found you guys a while ago, quite a few months ago, and I think I googled like libertarian metal music podcast or something like that, and then there was like a Reddit thing. I think somehow I came across this podcast.
Interesting.
I was like, okay, because I was at a point. It was shortly after that show that I was talking about earlier, where I got jumped by these fucking leftists, and I was like, I can't be the only one that listens to this kind of music that fucking thinks like this, right?
Nah, man, there's tons of us. Will Porter's a big ska and metal guy too, and Will Porter, right?
I don't think so.
Will Porter, I think he writes for fucking what's that, RT now.
Okay.
Used to write for the Daily Sheeple, a bunch of other organizations. If you listen to Foreign Policy Focus with Kyle Anzalone,
I do not, but I'll put it on my list.
Well, he's actually one of the guys over at the Libertarian Institute now. So he's like, he's friends with Scott, and him and fucking Kyle, or him and Will have a bunch of episodes together. Will's an independent journalist, and he's done a lot of good work on the wars and stuff.
Awesome.
So We did an episode with him. God, was that back season 1?
I mean, yeah, it's getting pretty deep now.
Like we keep changing. Like we started numbering at 0. Like once we joined the Launchpad Media, and I'm debating whether or not I want to go back to 0 with the new name of the podcast. I think I'm not gonna, but
Because it hasn't really changed. We just changed the name.
yeah, I mean we're not really changing the podcast. We changed the name. What I was gonna ask you though, if you have you checked out the Freedom Song 365 project at all?
No.
Freedom Song 365 project. It just went public on the 1st of the year. If you go to freedomsong365.com, me, Sherry Voluntary, and Luke Tatum of the Sherry Voluntary Show and Culture of Peace podcasts did write-ups on a different song, kind of tackling liberty issues every day of last year.
Every single day.
So there are 365 songs up there that talk about libertarian themes or cover it in some indirect way.
Awesome.
It was one hell of an undertaking. I don't know that I'll ever sign up to do anything like that again without a lot of money coming in.
That sounds like a lot of fucking work, dude.
It
I sit
was-
down once a week for hours, and it's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. And
Well, if you look at the page, you will get the gravity of how much work it was, because like it's not like we just did write-ups. Like I went through, each song has a page. Where you get the links to different places to get the music. The videos are all embedded for the songs. I went and did actual, FAQs on the bands with like just little tidbits of information and shit. If like a lot of the bands, if they don't have a Wikipedia page, I'd actually go and find members of the band on Facebook and like talk to them.
oh, that's awesome, dude.
So I had some interesting conversations. At least one who is now a democratic socialist who regrets ever writing the music he wrote.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yes. You didn't actually have the conversation with the guy. I did, and it was incredibly weird.
Yeah, I bet.
Wow.
I mean,
So he's just following the trend, is what he was doing.
I don't know. His thing is he kind of got woke on race and decided that anarcho-capitalism is just a ruse being perpetuated by, some
Neo-Nazis.
some cabal or some shit like that. It's kind of where it seemed like he was going. It was a
That's hilarious.
disheartening conversation. Mostly because I'm like, okay, well, I'm here with my mixed family, and I don't see what you're saying. I see a lot of people taking advantage of ethnic people. So
I hate racists as much as the next leftist, you know what I mean? But like, I just don't think we should be rounding them up and killing them.
well, I mean, that,
You know what I mean? And I think that they should say the things that they say so we can know who to fucking avoid.
Well, and that's always been my thing, and that's ultimately like a lot of my old punk rock friends from back where I grew up. That was the final straw. Was in the whole Richard Spencer situation. They were like, just punch Nazis. That's okay. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's not good for society. It's not good for anybody. Like, it was incredibly frustrating. And you're watching people that are otherwise fairly good on stuff and just fucking lose their goddamn minds.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I would rather know where the racists are so I can keep them away from my family and never
Yeah,
give them
definitely.
a single fucking penny.
I used to work with a guy that had a fucking swastika tattooed on his hand, and my wife and I both worked at the same place, and it was numerous times. He would come up to me and call me a fucking race traitor and shit because my wife's Asian.
Ugh.
And,
I
and
have
if he ever sees me out in the streets, he's gonna fucking kill me and all this shit. And I had to work with that guy for like 2 months, every single day. Now, trust me, I understand how angry he can get at a racist, and it fucking sucks. But at the same time, that guy's probably still alive if he didn't die for health reasons.
not to get off topic, but there has been a group of people that I find to be incredibly racist that strangely have the left going to bat for them an awful lot. I imagine you spent a fair amount of time near them. I spent a lot of time in convenience stores and gas stations, given the work that I do.
Right.
And in my experience, man, do Arab people and Indian people, mostly Arab people, hate black people. It's really weird.
Koreans were the same way.
Are they? The most racist people I know are all Arab.
Yeah.
The coincidentally, I work for Jews, which is also really funny. my bosses are of mine. They're like, well, I don't give a shit if they hate me. Their money's still green.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say anything. That sounds pretty Jewish, you know.
Are they like Hasidic Jews?
No, they're Americans. Like they're.
Are they like Shylocks and fucking fedoras?
Here's how I would describe my bosses. I am still not entirely certain they're just not lying about the whole fucking thing and are actually Italians because they look too much like my cousins and you know.
There you go.
We'll just say that. They're good people though. They take care of me.
Yeah. You know who else gets a lot of shit, I guess you can say, in the media or systemically, are Italians.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't hear a whole lot of fuss coming from them.
Well, that's anytime anyone like I hate people. Oh, that doesn't matter. It doesn't. You're full of shit. It's not the same thing. But it's like I'm basically an Italian Irish half and half.
Yeah.
And nobody was shit on as much as black people, other than the Italians and the Irish.
Back in the day, yeah.
Now, eventually we could pass, I guess would be what it would be called.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's the same thing, but it's like, yeah, oppression is fucking real for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
I think my family came over after most of that shit, luckily. But in the same vein, like, yeah, I wasn't here for any of that slavery shit, so don't fucking lay it on my door.
Right.
Like, my family wasn't here, I think, until the fucking 50s.
Yeah, God. I'm just so not looking forward to February 'cause it's like the most awkward month of the year for me.
I can imagine.
We should totally just make a big deal of Black History Month on here. And like I will just be going bananas about it, and you're gonna be completely underwhelmed and want nothing to do with it. I'm gonna go and find as many black guests as I can.
Okay, you do that. Have fun.
Yeah, get Eric July on. He has
God.
some shit to say.
We would love to get Eric July on.
I've been trying for fucking 2 years to get Eric on.
He has not been interested thus far. Maybe we could like actually talk about comics now.
Maybe he's got somebody who's like not getting him my emails or messages I send to him because he's never.
There has to be something because this is a perfect platform for him. He's the singer of Backwards,
man. And we love his we watch his YouTube videos all the time about comics. Like,
yeah, I follow Eric. Yeah. I don't particularly like Backwards, but I like their messaging.
Yeah, I like the lyrics.
I think new metal.
I'm not a huge new metal fan.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's it. I've been openly critical of the whole new metal thing, and that's why I won't come on. I don't know.
I like his hip hop he does.
Oh yeah.
I prefer the hip hop. Like I don't understand people that watch his screaming videos, like where he's just doing shit. And I get it, man. I'm sure it's cathartic for him to do them, and people clearly like it. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man. Watching a dude scream in a studio just doesn't do it for me.
Right. No, I see what you're saying.
I fronted a metal band. Like I've done that thing. It's just, I don't know. It seems kind of weird.
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
No, but I'm throwing it out there. Anyone who can help me get Eric July on, please do. Anyone who can help me get Scott Horton on, please do.
Yeah,
that's been the other one I haven't been able to get on.
Really? I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after this. I'll get you some info.
I guess my big thing is that like everyone wants to talk to him about war, and like I think it really is just he's just always on, and always wants to talk about war, and I kind of just want to talk to him about like old R&B music and punk rock and skateboarding.
Okay. Yeah.
And I guess maybe it's just in his world that's so not important that he wouldn't waste the time on it. But for me, like humanizing the people in this movement has always been the most important thing. Like the fact of the matter is like libertarians have serious issues liking each other. So
oh yeah.
No, what?
Like we need to be able to find our tribes within the community for any of this to fucking have any hope of working out. Yeah. And that's one of the big reasons I started This Week in Liberpods is, to that tip. Like I really wanted to make sure we can find the people who speak to us, and we can find people that are more like us, that we can create our little groups. Like the echo chambers are going to happen one way or the other, but I think sometimes people don't stick around because they don't find people more like they are.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, I pal around with a lot of Tom Woods people, but let's just say Christian conservatives aren't exactly my people.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm all about them living their lives and doing things the way they want to do them and them having the freedom to do that. But, you know, I'm going to continue to like psychedelic drugs and
Yeah, for sure.
You
Hey,
know,
I'm a
and-
Christian.
and
I'm a
freaky
Christian.
sex,
I fucking
so-
like psychedelic drugs too. So
There you go.
But yeah, and I think it's important to find people that you can kind of, you know, pal around with.
yeah, definitely, and it makes the whole libertarian pill a little easier to swallow. You know what I mean? And like, if I didn't like buy into it and read all the shit that I read, you know, I wouldn't be a libertarian right now. I'd probably be like a fucking Bernie Sanders supporter or something.
For me, the biggest wake up call was Friends Against Government podcast.
Yep.
Because like when I got into this, started doing the podcast, like I fucking dove in, like I went head first, tried, you know, got as way into it as I could. And at some point, I found out the Friends Against Government was a podcast, and that they'd been doing it for a year, and I'd never fucking heard of them.
Yeah.
Like, how are you involved? Like, it's not like the libertarian community is the biggest community in the world. How the hell is somebody having a podcast for a year you didn't even know it existed?
Well, and they're like literally your people.
Well, I think they're more my people, and I think they think I'm their people. But
Okay,
that's
fair
whatever.
Yeah, Bird and Carr are awesome.
I love the show. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Um,
hilarious.
You know, and I'm into cryptids, so anyone
there
who
you
wants
go.
to talk
Mm.
about cryptids and shit, I'm game.
Yeah.
I have a very weird set of interests.
Well,
It's basically
I
punk
mean, we
rock,
haven't even
cryptids. and-
gotten to my set of interests, which I'm still trying to find my libertarian tribe with.
Yeah, we're trying to get Liz to be more open about like her interests on the show. I've been trying to get her to bring guests on for a year, and she just won't fucking
Well,
do it.
because I haven't found people who are into historical fashion, Tolkien, and I don't know, like classical music. I don't know.
I mean,
like
most
random weird
libertarians are
stuff.
to Tolkien, Liz.
I know. Well, that's a thing that people can get into, or Star Trek. I've had some Star Trek conversations, but like, you know, the fashion thing is like a lot of those folks are very on the other kind of side.
Technically, Star Trek is like a socialist fantasy.
Well, I
so
know.
you're gonna have that.
Yeah,
to
that's
contend with.
that's a challenge.
Like
Do
Star
you
Wars.
like all Star Trek,
No, I don't. I hate the new Trek. Obviously, that's
the
just-
movies?
Yeah, we don't speak of.
Yeah.
Oh,
most
I
of
think she's
that.
also referring to the shitty TV show.
Yeah. And the new
Wait,
shitty
there's a new
TV
TV show?
the new shitty TV show.
Oh, dude, I want you to imagine the most woke TV show you've ever seen in your life,
Oh my god.
and then make it Star Wars, but pretend it's Star Trek.
Basically, yeah.
That's trash.
It's real awkward.
Like every episode's gonna give you a lecture about why men are evil,
yeah. Yeah.
which is why I don't watch Jessica Jones anymore.
Sadly.
Yeah. I like the Next Generation.
Yeah, I like TNG. I liked the original, was okay. I mean, it was
Corny
60s
today,
corniness.
but-
Yeah, but you know,
And-
it was
Nostalgic.
what it was.
And to me, all of these things just fall flat because I'm like, the less like Isaac Asimov it
I
is,
know,
like
I know.
the less sci-fi it is. Which is why The Expanse is the shit.
That is so your stuff. I get
Yeah,
it.
I got to get into that.
Oh, dude, if you're like a sci-fi person at all, it is the best sci-fi out there right now.
Yeah. I like Star Wars outside of these new ones.
Yeah, I like
Um,
the old Star Wars.
I
Yeah.
see my
The Mandalorian was fucking awesome.
Oh,
I
okay.
hear that, and I'm frustrated to see that they're going to start tying it into the new movies more in the second season.
Awkward.
Are they really?
Yes, like
Okay.
they think they're going to start kind of. I think that Mandalorian is how they're going to try and explain Palpatine is their goal.
Oh, I did hear about that. They're starting a Darth Maul series too, and a Obi-Wan Kenobi one.
Interesting.
I'm going to be curious to see how much of that actually comes to fruition because I know that they've had a lot of dust up in the past couple months as far as like production on that because the fucking movie did so horrible.
Oh man, I heard
Rise of the Skywalker.
Oh,
Yeah.
a lot.
I didn't go watch it, and I'm a fucking dude. Ever since I was a kid, I've been a fucking Star Wars nerd. You know.
And my problem with Star Wars is that it's like you're trying to make D&D and like space and mash them together.
how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. I would have rather just
Space
have like
wizards.
some cyberpunk shit,
Yeah.
which is where I ended up going. That's why I like the 90s sci-fi movies, you know, fucking.
What'd you think of the new Blade Runner?
I actually haven't watched it. What's his name?
Save yourself the time.
Oh really? Okay.
It's
I hear
fucking
it's
boring.
well,
Really?
And see, and boring I can tolerate as long as it's good. From what I think at some point I'm gonna have to watch it if for no other reason than it's fucking supposed to be visually amazing.
The visuals were good.
Like,
the CG was done really well.
It's just, and now it's, I guess, have you ever watched his director's cut of the original?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Which is also fairly boring in my experience. It's just a long fucking movie. It's a long fucking movie.
Oh, it's long for sure.
So, like, I don't know that, like, a long, slow burn is necessarily a bad thing. But, you know, I know that it didn't do all that well either.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I loved the first movie.
I'll have to, now, see, now you're talking me into seeing it so I can go.
And then you'll be mad. Like, dang it.
Well, no, it's a contrarian part of me. It's like, well, if he doesn't fucking like it, now I gotta know how to talk shit on him. Like, now I gotta know how to come back. Like, dude, your fucking taste is bogus. That fucking movie was great.
Yeah.
This is how you end up at ANCAPism in the first place. So
I
fuck
guess.
everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how
dude.
I got here, but that's fine.
Hey, that's how I ended up in punk rock.
I mean,
Fucking goths are boring. Like this Marilyn Manson shit is like fucking corny, you know. But like
I was
these
always
guys have
friends
fucking
with those
mohawks.
kids. Like, I was friends
Oh
with
yeah, I
the
was
goth
friends with them.
kids, but like, yeah, no,
I was friends
never.
with them too, but they like writing poetry and shit like that wasn't my thing.
Well, see, it wasn't like that where I grew up.
No.
Where I
There's
grew
something
up,
different.
the kids that were into Marilyn Manson were also the same kids I think into the Grateful Dead in a lot of cases.
Okay.
Like, we would call them neo hippies,
Mhm.
which technically I'm probably actually a neo hippie in
Yeah.
retrospect.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were just like, it was just a weird culture, and I think it has more to do with the fact that we were in a small town than anything, and
Yeah.
those were the kids that just wanted to do drugs, and so they just kind of
Okay.
clicked.
That is one
together.
thing. That is one thing I had in common with the goth kids was drugs.
And see, and
Where we didn't have things in common was like fucking going around and vandalizing shit. You know what I mean?
well, I
Skateboarding.
I guess for me, I was always a bit of a goody two shoes, so like I could kind of fit into an edge community pretty okay.
hmm I had a friend. This is pretty funny. But I had a friend who was like really into goth culture, I guess you can call it. And he was in these fucking chat rooms all the time, talking about like vampire shit. Like he was pretending to be a vampire in the chat room. And I was like,
That's awesome.
I'd sit there and watch some of the things he says, and like, dude, this is fucking weird and boring. Like, let's go out and get drunk and high.
See, while you say that, I'm like, my goal for my band, any band that I've ever been in, my ultimate goal is that we have to work in a vampire orgy scene in a movie. Like if there was like a vampire, they're about to have like a big vampire orgy in a movie, we have to be the band on stage while it happens.
Oh, okay.
That's
I see what you're
always
saying.
been my ultimate goal.
That is pretty dope. With all these things I said, I love Typo Negative.
Well, and exactly, there you go.
Nice.
Even if he was a weird dude.
Peter Steele.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's really weird.
He's a weird guy with some interesting thoughts, but
Yeah, sure.
Up until like 2 years ago, I hated Typo Negative, but for some reason, I started getting into like stoner metal and doom metal and shit like that.
and see, that's
And-
my real, where I connect with metal. That's why I like Down so much. Like, it's kind of, I won't say the precursor to it, but it's kind of what kept that whole thing going. I think
Yeah.
technically Caius and Queens of the Stone Age are probably like the biggest thing that really kept that going.
Yeah,
You
they're one of the bigger ones.
a Mastodon
Sleep's-
guy? Oh, Sleep's the shit, man.
Dude, I love Sleep. Fucking Electric Wizard, all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
Wind Hand. Fuck yeah.
I
that's
don't
my
know
shit.
that one. We'll have to look into that. I've never heard of them.
They're awesome. It's a slow burn, but it's like the perfect slow burn. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
do you use Bandcamp at all?
I don't know. I kind of stopped making music. I still play guitar, but
Dude,
I
who,
don't record
who
anything.
cares about fucking putting music out there? So much good music on Bandcamp.
Okay.
Like, we used to do a feature on the show where we just we'd each promote a new album off Bandcamp every week. If you like doom metal and you like progressive music,
Mhm.
there is no fucking place in the world where you're gonna find more of it per capita than on fucking Bandcamp. So
Sold.
much of it. Like, oh my god, there's so much good doom on there.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm in on that for sure.
And like, you ever heard of Vola?
I have not.
There's this fucking unbelievable. I want to say they're from Finland, maybe. They're one of those Nordic countries, but this crazy fucking Nordic metal band, and like they get kind of, I won't say symphonic. They have this they almost have like this weird Peter Gabriel-ness about them, on top of being like a sweet fucking metal band.
Hell yeah, dude.
it's like to me, it's like 12-Foot Ninja meets Peter Gabriel.
Okay.
And
I like 12-Foot Ninja.
Yeah, they're way up that speed. All right, you have been more than generous with your time today, and I'm unfortunately going to probably have to cut some of this out for time. So I'm going to need to make I'm going to need to make sure people go and like join the Freedom Choir so they can have most of it.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Thanks a lot for having me on, man.
No, dude,
Really
it was a lot of
appreciate
fun. Anytime you want to come back on and fucking vent, please give us a ring because this is a lot of fun. I like talking to old punk rock dudes.
it. Hell yeah, me too.
And like I
Like, you
said,
get it.
I know for us there's not that many of us when there should be a lot of us that are on this side of things.
Yeah, 100%.
So, any last minute plugs you want to get in there before we let you go, though?
Just follow us on Twitter at V4VISM, and the 4 is the number 4 because we're hip and cool and shit like that.
Right.
Follow me on Twitter at Anarcho Johnson. We're also on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. We're not super active with Facebook because
just for the record,
that's cool to me.
Right.
Anarcho Johnson kind of sounds like a dick fucking everything.
Yeah. It's unregulated.
I'm just an unregulated dick. That could, if you need to have a temporary, Twitter name, that's what you go by, unregulated dick.
I love that, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, follow us on there. You can find us on any podcatcher, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple. Just type in Veterans for Voluntarism, the number 4.
And I will 100% vouch. I do listen to the show fairly regularly, and it's a solid show. And it takes a bit to be interested in an hour and a half long podcast. So
yeah, we're trying to cut the time down in the future, but
it's just the conversation suffer, man. Like you just really get into it, and oh shit, this is over if you don't do the hour and a half mark.
Yeah,
it sucks. And you guys have had some good ones, so
awesome. I appreciate the kind words.
All right, bud. Well, you have yourself a good Sunday.
All right, dude. You guys too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right, babe.
Yep.
Postscript. We've done the episode. They've listened to it.
Yep.
How did you feel about that conversation?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm excited with where it went and what we learned from it.
What did we learn from it?
That you should check out Veterans for Voluntarism. That's what we learned.
Is that what we learned?
I mean, among other things.
I think that we learned soldiers are some of our best allies in fighting the bullshit of the government,
Totes.
fighting all that evil and killing.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
I definitely agree with it. So thank you so much for agreeing with me.
Agreeing with it. Okay.
All right, folks. That's going to bring this episode to a close. I'd like to remind you, check out Make America Garrett again.
Mm-hmm.
Just the record. I mean, I should start having people pay me to do promos of their podcasts.
I mean, that is a thing that people do.
It is. I want to spread the love.
Yeah, we want people to do that thing that they do, and we want people to
Raising all ships and all that
basically.
what's not.
get into it.
Also, as we said in the beginning of the episode, go check out peacefreaks.com. Check out the show notes. If there's anything that struck your fancy in this here episode, by all means. And if you want to drop us a line, you can head to any of the areas. I recommend going and joining the Peace Freaks discussion group.
Yep.
There's a lot of fun that goes on in there. I share a lot of music stuff. I love sharing music links.
Yeah. Totally
Today,
fun.
I shared a link for one of my favorite Everclear videos.
The heart spark $, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the precursor to me banging you.
There you go. Can't argue with that.
So, all right, folks, this has been episode number 85 of the Peace Freaks podcast. Go out.
Feel free to like and subscribe to the show.
You're not gonna say stay magical
I'm gonna say
or whatever your fucking catchphrase is.
work your magic. I think I was gonna say work your magic this episode. Yeah, so do that thing that you do. That's awesome, and nobody else does it, and it'll make the world better because we need you to be your awesome weird self.
God, Landon Porter's gonna sue us if you keep stealing his catchphrase.
What is his catchphrase again?
Go out and be your weird ass self.
Oh, geez, that is really close to that.
Yes.
Work your magic.
I know Landon doesn't listen to this, but if he did,
Okay, sorry. Work your magic. That's my catchphrase.
Work your magic.
Work your magic.
Do you think that we trend in like the people who are cool at prostitution area?
What?
What
No.
kind of magic do you think people are working?
I was talking about the magic of being you. Totally. And also, if you happen to be a Ravenclaw like me, you could do that too. Whatever.
A Ravenclaw?
Ravenclaw.
What's that about?
I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure you're a Slytherin.
Is it like being a Gemini?
Kind of, only in Harry Potter lore.
That sounds pretty gay.
I mean, if you think Harry Potter is pretty gay.
Well, according to the person who wrote it, it is.
Don't look that up. It's fine. There's too many shippers out there.
Apparently, she made every character in the thing gay.
Like
just
post
after she released the books and it was popular. And
I was listening to actually a Harry Potter podcast and they were talking about her kind of retconning a lot of things. They're like, okay, can we stop now? I think we're ready to stop now.
Well, she wants to get the love of the social justice people so much that she
get
does.
that. I get
It's
it.
over for it.
It is what it is, I suppose.
I want to do right and represent and all that stuff too, but can we just do it with good stuff?
It's so funny that like all the makers of the things like screwing up the things because they want to keep remaking the thing.
I made
just let the thing be the thing it is.
I made Liz watch A League of Their Own today.
I did. I loved it. It was amazing.
It was, and it was so feminist.
It was, and it wasn't like, let's stop the story.
It was just written well, is all it was.
And talk about being feminists. They were just freaking feminists.
Like, it reminds me of Don't Be a Menace to South Central.
While drinking your juice in the hood?
Yeah, remember when he keeps popping and going, message?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Only they take out all the story and it's just that.
Right, like
And not a joke.
almost every time that Captain Marvel appeared in Endgame.
I don't know, never bothered to watch it.
Oh, I loved Endgame.
They told me it wasn't made for me.
Well, yeah, among other things.
Look, if a director tells me the movie's not made for me, I'm not going to go see it.
Yeah, I actually tend to have that reaction to most things, too.
That's why I never went and saw Black Panther. They told me it wasn't for me,
Yeah,
despite having actually been a Black Panther fan.
right.
Enjoy,
You know
I
what?
guess.
I guess the only cool thing about the fandoms being weird is that you get to remember what you loved about the fandom when it wasn't weird. So
Can we bring back Tank Girl?
maybe.
That's all I want.
Right on.
Or just Lori Petty.
Or just Lori Petty. I know, she's fabulous.
All right, folks. Take it easy. This podcast is a proud creation of the Mad Audio Lab. For more information, check out madaudiolab.com. Peace Freqs is part of the Liberty Hippie Podcast Network. If you like what we do, be sure to check out Homesteads and Homeschools, Free Markets Green Earth, Cannabis Heals Me, and This Week in Liberpods. We're living proof that libertarian doesn't mean washed up Republican.